The RA Private Security Agency Law. Next, Republic Act number 5487, an act to regulate the organization and operation of private detective watchman or security guard agency, and the Private Security Agency Law. Uh, who supervise implement this law? Supervisory and Office for Security and Investigation Agency, or SOSEA. And next is Philippine National Police Civil Security Group, or PNP CSG. And rule number 1, Declaration of Policy. Section 1, Scope: the organization, operation, business, and activities of private watchman, security, or detective agency, and security and training personnel shall be governed by this rule and regulation implementing Republic Act 5487 as amended, and Section 2, uh, license necessary. No person shall engage in the business of or act as a private detective agency, or engage in the occupation, calling, or employment of private security personnel, and or in the business of private security training agency without first having obtained the permit from the Chief of HR Philippines National Police, which permit as approved is prerequisite in obtaining a license certification. License is likewise necessary for any person operating, managing, and directing or conducting a licensed private security and detective training agency. Any person having any participation in the management or operation, therefore, except those employed solely for clerical or manual work, shall also secure a license. And Section 3, training required. All applicants for license certificate shall have received the appropriate training from any public or private training institution or system duty and organized by the government to conduct private security for or police training. And Section 4, prohibition. No license certificate shall be granted to any applicant and for license to operate or license to exercise security profession with the following disqualification. A. Have previous record of any conviction of any crime. B. Having previous record of any conviction of any offense involving moral turpitude. And letter C. Having been dishonorable, discharged, or separate from the employment or service. And letter D, being a mental incompetent. And letter E, being user addicted to the use for prohibited drugs or narcotics, and F, being a habitual drunkard, and letter G, dummy of a foreigner. Rule number 5, license to exercise private security profession. And letter A, section 2, base requirements of private security personnel. A, Filipino citizen, and B, not less than 18 years of age. Letter C, must have take private security course, seminar, and or must have decade quite training or experience in security business or rendering security detective service. And letter D, good moral character and must have not have been convicted of any crime or violation of this rule and regulation carrying a penalty of prohibition to be a license. And letter E, must be physical and mental fit. Section number 3, no person shall be licensed as a security and guard unless he possess the following qualification. Letter A, Filipino citizen. B, high school graduate. Physical and mental fit, not less than 18 years 18 years of age or more than 50 years of age. And letter E, has undergone a licensing training course or its equivalent. Section 4, qualification for security officer. No person shall be licensed as security officer unless he has the following qualification. A, Filipino citizen. B, holder of a baccalaureate degree. And C, physical and mental fit. D, has graduated from a security officer training course or its equivalent. Section 7, exception from basic pre-license training. A, veterans and retired military, police personnel, or those honorable discharge military. Police personnel possessing all the qualification from pre-license training, seminar and academic, scholastic and attainment, which is a requirement for the essential insurance of license to exercise private security profession, but shall not however be exempted from taking a refresher training courses or its equivalent. And section 13, renewal of license. Letter A, deadline for filing and late filing. The deadline of filing of application or applicant for renewal of license to exercise profession shall be 60 days prior to the month of the expiry date. Applicants accepted their and after shall be finalized for late filing. And section 15, possession of license. All licensed private security personnel, uh, while in the exercise of their profession, shall have in his body and possession his or her valid license to exercise private security profession together with the corresponding proof of payment of license fee. And rule number 7, uh, use for firearms. Section 1, possession for firearms by private security agency, private detective agency, and company security force, government and security unit. And private security agency, private detective agency, and companies security force, government security unit shall be entitled to possess firearms as satisfactorily complying with the requirement prescribed by the chief PNP pertinent to the possession of firearm, provided that the number of firearm shall nor exceed 1 firearm to for everyone, 2 and security guard in its employment, and no private security agency and private detective agency and company security force, government security units shall be allowed to possess firearm in excess of 500 units. Section 2, and restriction to possess high power firearms. A private detective agency and private security agency, company security service, government security unit is not allowed to possess IN caliber firearms considered as military type when such as M16, M14 caliber 30 and carbine, M1 Grand and other rifle and special weapon with born bigger than caliber 22 to include pistol and revolver with bores bigger than caliber 38 but with firing characteristic of full automatic brass and 3-round brass. However, when shots in tiles are operating in areas where there is an absurd of lowliness and criminality as determined by the Chief PNP, Police Regional, Office of the Direction or Director of the Authorized and Representative. Section 3, limitation in the carrying of firearm. Letter A, unless specified or exempted to provision of the rules and regulation or firearms law to firearms uh, shall be born nor be in the possession of any private security personnel except when in the actual performance in duty to the prescribed in uniform in the place and time so is specified in the DDO. And letter B, the firearm used to security service government unit shall be carried by the security personnel only within the compound of the establishment where he is assigned to guard, and except when the security personnel is discarding big amount of money or valuable in conduction duties outside its jurisdiction or area of operation upon prior coordination with the nearest PNP units and station or when it's had pursued criminal offenders. Section 9, illegal possess of firearm. No person employed as a security guard or private detective shall use in licensed firearm in the performance of his duties, nor be allowed to use firearms with the duplicate serial number. Section 5, categories of private security training. The following are the general categories of private security training. Pre-license license training program. As a matter of prerequisite and pre-license training program include all training or academic programs or course who objective in the indoctrinate the individual with the basic skill and educational backgrounds necessary in the effective exercise and performance of his or her elected would be security, detective security officer training course, private security agency operations or operators training seminar, private security training trials course. B, refresher training program. This shall refer to periodic and periodic training program and course designed with the objective of reinvigorating and or developing basic skill and knowledgement gain previously or gain in the exercise of his or her profession as a matter of experience to enhance current in the in service and future individual and or collective exercise or profession. This This includes mandate, predictive in service training uh, to be initiate by employer security agency, which is further or prerequisite for the periodic retraining course and basic security supervisory course and security supervisor development course and specialized training program. This shall refer to training programs and courses other than those described in the preceding categories designed at developing previously gained skill and knowledgement designed at outmen then to or expanding current skill and knowledgement to suit uh, in identify future application. It's include but it's not limited to such courses as the intelligence investigator training course, basic crisis management course, personnel and VIP security training course, armored car or crew training course, bomb disposal training course, bank security training course, and basic aviation security specialized course. Rule power and duties. Section 1 territorial power and security guard shall watch and secure the property of the person fire or establish with who he or her agency the person or has a contact for security service. Shall service shall not however extend by beyond the property or compound of said person. Fear or establishment except when required by the latter in the accordance with the terms of their contract to escort or in the hot pursuit of criminal offender. Section 2 arrest by the security guard. Letter A security guard of private detectives is not a police or and is not therefore clothed with police authority, and however he may effective arrest under any of the following circumstance. A when in his presence the person to be arrested has committed in actually committing or is attempting to commit it. Letter B. When an offense has just been committed and has probable cause to believe based on personal knowledge of facts and circumstance that the person to be arrested has committed it. And letter C. When the person to be arrested is a prisoner who has escaped from a penal establishment or place where he is serving final judgment or temporarily confined to another, or section 6 rule 113 rule of court, and section 3 method of arrest. When making arrest, the watchman security guard of private detective shall inform the person to be arrested of the intention to arrest him and cause of the arrest, unless the person to be arrested in is then engaged to in the commission of offense, or after escape or fails or possibly resist before the person making the arrest, and has opportunity to so inform him, or when the giving of such information will impede the arrest. And section 4 duty of security guard making arrest. Any security guard making arrest shall immediately turn over to the person arrested in the nearest peace officer, police outpost, or headquarters for custody and or appropriate action, or he may without necessary delay and with the time prescribed in the Article 125 of the revised penal code as amended, take the person arrested to the to he proper court of law or judge for such action as they may them proper to take. Section 17. And for the last slide, section 5 search without warrant. Any security guard may incident to search the person so arrested in the presence of at least two witness. He may also search employees of the person far off establishment with which he is or his agency has contract of private detective, watchman of security service, when search is required by the very nature of the business of the person, fear or establishment. And that's all.